Switching from like tech to, let's say, people or leadership, like I think someone like yourself who's been in all these different countries, you've led teams and business lines, I guess, in all these different countries. What's one thing from like a leadership style or a management, I wouldn't say trick or concept, that you've carried through this thing that has worked across all these different cultures and time zones and challenges?
I would say at a simplest level, adaptability, I think, is key. I wouldn't say it is that being able to adapt, but actually be willing to adapt, right? Because you can be able to adapt, but if you don't have that inner curiosity to understand where people are coming from, to really be humble and assume that, hey, this is a valid perspective, and take all the years of experience and all the, let's say, medals you get within your journey. I think that is sort of the most important skills, because at the end of the day, there is a common thread that everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to have fun. Everybody wants to be treated properly and, be recognized. But the way different people in different countries and different professions, right, even between, let's say, sales, tech, marketing, HR, the way they exhibit that is very different. And at times, if you're not curious, if you're not able to be open to adapt, you might be completely reading that signal, right? So I remember, for example, after spending, more than 10 years in the Middle East, I came here and my first assignment was to spend close to 6 to 9 months in Japan. And my initial reaction was like, okay, they are really different. They want something else. But then after 9 months, I realized, well, they actually want the same thing. It's just that the way they demonstrate that,
it's different. Yeah.
The way they behave, it might put you in a completely different location. So definitely adaptability, your capability of doing that, but I would say probably even more important, your willingness to be able to adapt.
Yeah. To even be like, hey, I'm gonna adapt to this situation. Yeah, and do you find, because just as a side note, we're the podcast is the Generalist. Has the concept of generalism been something you've had to carry throughout this? Because I know you've done different business lines as well as different geographies, which it's very hard to specialize sometimes, given it's a new country, it's a new business line, it's a new culture, it's a new language. How is that juggled for you?
I think for me, that's the biggest motivator, right? I would say probably if I have stayed doing the same business, even if in different countries throughout, I'll probably haven't stayed, as you said in the beginning, like, why did you stick to it? I wouldn't have stick to it. So that change, that diversity of thought is very important. And I think, I consider myself a go-to-market person. Whatever is the definition of go-to-market these days, because every company will have their own understanding, but go-to-market and generalists for me is super important because enables you to bring those different experiences. And then if you're curious enough, if you're willing to adapt, you can actually bring that experience and make something meaningful for that new scenario. So, when I was, after I left Microsoft and came back, I moved from doing hosting business, which was, co-sell, partners, telcos, to driving Windows Phone. I didn't know about anything about that business. But because I was energetic, curious, I was able to bring things that people who were there for 10 years, they almost assumed that wasn't possible. And of course, don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating for, hey, just get people who are not vested or experienced in your business and put them to run. But I think the combination of talent can be very powerful.
Creates a good tension.
Right? Exactly. To sort of push the boundaries in a responsible manner.